Alright, time for the new Q&A. Didn't do one last month, but hey, we're back and we're better than ever, so let's not waste any time and jump into it. If you have any questions you'd like to see featured on a future Q&A, let me know in the comments. I'll probably save it for a future one, even if I don't get to it necessarily in the next month's Q&A. So, today we have, for first things up, from Erica, we have, what's your favorite sports anime? Least favorite? If you've answered these before, then let me just ask. If you watch one of your favorites all over again and see it with fresh eyes, what would you watch? I feel like I probably have, but I'm gonna say favorite. It's hard to say because my overall enjoyment that I had for Blue Lock season 1, it's up there, but because it's more of a complete story, if we continue to get more seasons and at the very least reach a stopping point for Blue Lock in terms of the anime that feels satisfactory, I'll give it to Blue Lock for sure. But right now, I would still say Megalobox is my personal favorite. Both seasons 1 and 2 are kind of, well, like, they're both self-contained stories, but they hit it out of the park with that one. And honestly, if I could rewatch anything for the first time, it would probably be Blue Lock, because that show continued to surprise me, and the excitement of not knowing where matches would go just completely hit it out of the park. I don't really have a least favorite because I don't watch enough to really, if something bores me, I move on, so I don't really form a strong enough opinion. Now, this next one, it's a doozy. It's probably what I'm going to base the title of this video. So, I get my fair share of hate comments or just really monkey brain level comment. I love this comment because it's so up his own ass, where it's funny because the screenshot I'm about to use here, it says 10 hours ago. I remember seeing this like 2 seconds after he posted it. I just didn't grab the screenshot then. Buddy liked his own comment immediately, and 10 hours later, no one liked it afterwards. So it really says a lot about the quality of this. So this dumbass says, don't you think it's a little beep to read the manga beforehand, now making videos on theories? So this was in talking about, I think it was on Heavenly Delusion, when I was making if you haven't watched that show, I was making a theory about someone's brain going in someone else's body. Turns out that theory turned out to be true. And it's hilarious when people do this because there's so many shows that I've covered over the past little bit, whether it's Gundam, Witch from Mercury, where I was literally hammering in that Soletta and Eri were not the same person, and for weeks upon weeks, before people were really propelling that theory, I had people literally insult me saying I was brain dead because I didn't understand. There's so many shows without source materials that I get predictions right, yet there's also just as many, if not more, where I get predictions wrong. Yet there'll be these monkey brain level commenters who will come in, like their own comments, drop slurs or words that you really shouldn't be just casually posting online anymore, and they'll just claim that I read the manga. Like, it's hilarious because I read Attack on Titan. I constantly say that, and you can go from season 2 all the way to the final season, how I review that. I only talk about my feelings of where it was at in the manga at that point, or I never allude. I constantly have people comment on my Attack on Titan videos saying, thank you, you're one of the rare people who read the manga and actually avoid talking about future plot points. It's really insulting, but it really just highlights how dumb this person is, or anyone who casually does it. I get at least once a month, sometimes 2 a month. People either say because they've read the manga and they think I just am spoiling myself. Like, I literally gain nothing. I could easily just fake reactions. I could easily do this or that, yet when I do, I tell people. I literally, on the biggest show that's finishing up, I literally say I've read the manga, which for some people gets people to click off. It's just, I don't get it, man, but I had to highlight, this is an absolute court jester and is completely ridiculous given that I have a history of getting things right with anime originals. I have a history of getting things wrong with anime originals. With source material, without, it doesn't matter. I put myself out there, I put my theories, yet this clown hides behind some avatar and decides to insult me. No, goofball, you're the idiot. So for Mr. Killer, did you watch The Last of Us show? If so, what did you think of it? And also, did you play the game? Yes, I watched the show, I played both games, and I loved all 3. The only thing with the show is I really wish we had like an extra 3 or 4 episodes. Not to say that they didn't adapt it well and like translate it well. It's just there's so much more I wanted to see with them. They casted Ellie and Joel spot on, and the fact that the second game is going to be at least a couple of seasons from what they're saying, I think is perfect for the type of story. So yeah, like that's definitely been, I mean, we're living in a really good age. Mario movie, Last of Us TV series, video games are getting good adaptations now, and I'm here for it. Regis says, thought on Donghua, why people refuse to watch it, and even if they did, they watch it on Japanese rather than in Mandarin. So this is an interesting one. I think it's just simply because anime has become one of the more mainstream things. Like, you know, in terms of quality, I mean, I constantly see people read and watch these series that aren't made in Japan or aren't Japanese anime, yet, yeah, they are absolutely fantastic. Like, I mean, King's Avatar is a show that I really liked, and, you know, it blew up fairly well that outside of the anime fandom, and there's a lot of series, whether Donghua or other countries' production, that have, like, either anime influence style or just, you could swear they were, just it's in a different language. I think it's a mixture of, like, as an example, I prefer listening to the Japanese language more so than others in terms, I mean, besides English, because that's what I speak. So there's, you know, just the way characters enunciate and pronounce things, just for me, I prefer hearing that in Japanese if I do have to listen to it in a foreign language. And also, I think it's just more, anime's more widely access it a lot easier. So I think it's just a mixture of that. Not really people avoid it, just more so that's the thing that blew up more and is more easy to access than anything. And if you're like me, you just really prefer listening to Japanese audio, though if it's in English, I'll usually pick that as well. Varenja says, what's your favorite / most memorable video game mechanic? Mine's were the mini games for the spells of Glories of Hercules. Honestly, I gotta go modern here. It's honestly in Tears of the Kingdom, the fuse mechanic. So in Tears of the Kingdom, there's a mechanic where pretty much any item can be fused with another, so it makes the combination of weapons and equipment pretty much endless. You can make goofy things, whether a giant boulder on a stick to just whatever you think can be fused, they can. And seriously, that game in general is a technological masterpiece because the amount of, you can slap a steering wheel on pretty much anything and it will function the way you expect. Like, that game, I think 10 years from now, is still going to be looked at from game developers saying, how the hell did Nintendo crack it? But that's what happens when you delay it an extra year to polish up that bad boy. So DeAndre says, which anime character would you get along with? Think, you know, any of the classic children's moments from you, like whether you're watching Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Gi-Moto, Ash Ketchum. But in terms of who I'd really get along with, to be honest, I think I would really enjoy getting along with Sasha from Attack on Titan, man. She feels like she would be an absolute glory to hang out with for a day. You know you're gonna get into trouble, she'll be stealing the meat or stealing potatoes, and you get roped up into some wild things. As long as we could avoid the Titan shenanigans and just hang out with Sasha from Attack on Titan without the threat, I think she'd be an absolute blast to follow. So Diedrich Savant says, I have a question. Why is it that I stopped covering, I forget how you say this, Ursei Yatsura, I think is how you say it, as it's a great iconic rom-com that has influenced the genre even up to this day. Also, why did you not cover it as a reaction? So I stopped it after episode 3, I think, and there was a couple combinations of it. So I originally was planning to do it up till episode 12 because I knew the show was starting to fall off. I mean, you can look at the comments on r/anime, like it was getting like 20 comments by the end of its first season here. And even though I think r/anime has questionable opinions, they are a very good gauge on Western engagement for YouTube videos. So I was going to do it for a season, but then I started making a bunch of dentists and other appointments on, I think it was Thursday. So basically I fell behind, and the plan was to cover it on Patreon. And ultimately I just didn't feel like covering it anymore. It was a mixture of, I knew it wasn't going to do well on the channel. And honestly, it's the type of sitcom in a way that you don't need to watch all the episodes to have fun or be impressed with it. And personally, within 3 episodes, I had enough fun with it. I like it, and I completely agree it probably is amazing. But for me personally, I just had no more interest. And that's really all there is to it. I'm gonna censor this name just because I don't want anyone targeting this one. Let's be friends and talk about anime, manga, Nintendo games. Bye. I just want to highlight this and say, don't do this. I mean, it's kind of like, it's one step away from parasocial relationships. I appreciate everyone who watches my videos, and some people I have decent conversations with occasionally, whether on Patreon or here, but I'm just a content creator, you're you, right? Like, you have to understand friendships are natural, they blossom naturally. You can't kind of like it's like, imagine going to a meet and greet to your favorite band and then walking up to the lead singer and saying, you know, I love your music, let's be best friends. Like, I appreciate it, but no, just understand the boundaries of a kind of situation like this. So Bojack, I'm here to hook Bojack up. If I got a cameo on one of Brandon's YouTube videos, I get laid so much. So Bojack's an interesting commenter, ladies. Let's just say, if you want to have a conversation you won't forget, where he'll pull out story time that leaves you questioning, if not maybe rolling your eyes, as he also shows you, I think he has Microsoft Paint in terms of how he keeps track of his seasonal anime, give Bojack a ring. I imagine Bo will probably pop up in the comments of this video, but if not, keep an eye. He's always bound to do something questionable. I don't know if this is gonna hook him up or not, but You know what? I'm gonna try. And that's all for this Q&A. Let me know if you have any questions you'd like to see featured next time. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload next. And hey, I have a Patreon where you get to see early access on videos just like this before they go live public, where I also give video shoutouts to my tier 3s. So today we have Luke, Michael Barnes, Mai, and Marion James E. Posada. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.